Guys, come on in. Y'all see who my guest is. We're not going to hide anything today. A lot of times I'm just here up front, right? So we're just gonna kind of start out and get everybody in the room and start talking. I know it usually takes y'all about 10 minutes to get in here, so get in here. Come on, share this out to let everybody know what's going on. I don't mind if you come in and lurk, but you got to say hi before you go sit in the corner. That's pretty important to me. I want to know that you're here, guys. So come on in, and I'll say that about 6 more times before we get started, just so y'all know. Remember, y'all are here to help me with tech support. Make sure that everything is sounded good, y'all are happy, and y'all can hear the interview. I'm getting all my screens up and running. And so when you go live, like, are you a multi-platform guy or are you a single platform guy when you go live?
Well, it's usually single platform.
Okay.
But I do like to do multiple screens and have lots going on the screen. So
I know, right? Well, and I saw you like had slicers and different things going on
yeah,
in your lives, and you seem like me. You like to go horizontal versus the vertical.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I can fit more of that screen on there. So if I am doing some modeling in Tinkercad or whatever I'm doing, I can really show it off. I feel like the vertical just cuts off too much.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do.
No, I get that. I get that. What's up, guys? We got Ryan Payne coming in. Good to see you. Nate's Print Shop.
Hey Ryan, how you doing?
Dig. Good to see you. Dig always makes me think of that old blog site. I don't know if you ever knew Dig. It was kind of
Sounds
a
familiar.
tech news site. Jason Calacanis started it.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it was so fun. We got ASSSP. I think I got
Yeah,
all
that's
the S's
Alan,
in there.
one of my regulars.
What's
Hi Alan, how
up?
you doing?
Good to see you. Y'all come on in, guys. So I have a rule around here. When you come in the room, I don't mind if you lurk, but you have to say hello first, and then you can go sit in the corner. So make sure you let us know we're here. And Kevin Rose, you are correct. Jason Calacanis and Kevin Rose, you are correct. I forgot about Kevin. And that's from back when I paid attention to Twit, This Week in Tech. I don't pay attention to that anymore. There are so many different things out there now. What's up, Alan? Good to see you. Thank y'all for coming in. Come on in. We're gonna have a really good show. Y'all see who my guest is here, right? I'm excited about this. I really, really am. You know, we're just kind of testing. Y'all let me know if the audio sounds good. I'm gonna let him talk in just a little bit, but y'all let me know if the audio sounds good. I want to make sure y'all can hear everything. My ADHD won't let me shut up though. That's okay. I don't want. If you talk a lot in the chat room, you talk a lot in the chat room. If you don't talk in the chat room, that's okay. Just you're here. That's all I care about. The rest of it just happens.
Listen, I'm not used to having another person to talk to. Normally, I'm just the only one in my live. So just to have somebody else to talk to is amazing. So,
right. Well,
yeah.
Nate is one of those guys. He's in the room. He's one of those guys who likes to go sit in the corner. He's one of my admins. He's big with the Asylum Life community. Yeah, he actually Tuesday night I had to work late, so I just messaged him. I'm like, take over my live, and so he did my live on Tuesday night.
Nice.
So
I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to get to there. Like, so to be able to do that, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, and it's really great when you get to build a community. You know, it's a lot of fun, and we'll talk about that so much more in a little bit, guys.
Yes.
Now here's a couple of things. Are y'all hearing us okay? I need to know if you're hearing us okay. If we sound good, say something, Mr. Trendy. Say something for me.
What up, Cross 3D? How you doing? How you guys doing tonight? Want to make sure I sound testing. So I've got my little lapel microphone, but sometimes it likes to curl in on my jacket here. So
audio's good. Hey,
as long as you guys can hear me.
Cross, are you picking on me? Don't be doing this. You know how tech goes around here. You know, if it wouldn't be my show if something didn't go wrong. All right. You see his moving. Cross 3D. You're funny. Everybody else is like, sounds good, and Cross 3Ds. I see his lips moving. Yeah. You could clip to your glasses.
Yes, that is normally my go-to spot.
Usually I do that a lot.
So, but I thought I'd be a little more classy tonight. So you can. So.
Got it. Well, and I've been looking at the shirt. I can't tell. It's almost Phil Collins or crud. What's his name? I know his name.
Come on, Bill Murray. Bill Murray.
Yeah, Bill Murray. Okay. Okay.
Yep, Bill Murray.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
actually this particular shirt is from Chive a long time ago, but it was
Oh,
it's actually
okay.
officially ranked as the Bill effing Murray shirt. So
Oh, okay.
that's the officially. I have it in two different versions too. This is just the standard one, but I
There
have
we
one
go.
that he's a Ghostbuster as well.
Okay.
So
Okay. And we'll get into Ghostbuster. Ghostbuster is an interesting thing. I'm really
yeah.
intrigued by that one. What's up, new makers? How's it going?
Hey, new makers, how you doing?
Did you change out of those sweatpants? Is the question.
I did. I'm wearing jeans again. So I'm wearing jeans. So we're good. We're good.
Awesome.
No worries. No worries.
All right, that's good. Well, hey, you drinking anything tonight? I've got the usual coffee.
You know, I grabbed my my drink here. I just got some zero sugar root beer because you know it's later. I don't want to caffeine it up, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to stay away from sugars.
Yeah, root beer is tough, and I like root beer. Don't get me wrong, but without caffeine and without sugar,
I know. It's just it's a very fake drink, that's for sure. Very fake.
No more fake than Dr. Pepper.
True.
Watching the chat room. And then I've got some. Actually, have some cold brew. I made some cold brew yesterday, so I'm like all
nice.
coffeeed here. Ouch, Nate. You're funny. You're funny. But come on, guys. All right. So here's some things I've got to talk to you about. Now that everybody is in the room, everybody's here. I need y'all to do me a favor. This is the thing I can't do, guys. You know, there's 3 reasons why, and we always talk about this at the top of every show. There's 3 reasons why we like to do these interviews, right? 1, we like to meet cool people. Check. 2, we like to get to know the creators and makers that we love better, right? Check. We're going to be doing that. Number 3, we like to expose them to a larger audience. Hey, I can't do that. I sit here and I talk to that guy, but you have to share this out with your friends. You have to share this out with his community, with my community, with all of the other people that you know wherever you are, so that they can come in and they can learn more about Trendy Tech Dad. All right. That's important. That's your job for the night. Besides just sitting in the corner, I need you to do that. All right. But thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Expose them. Yes. Expose us, please.
All day long.
All day long. What's up, Raybert? We got Raybert hanging out in other places. Remember, we are in several different places. If you're ever interested in that, you know, where the President Lincoln is always hanging out in the bio, if you know what I mean. So, all right, we've been exposed. Thank you guys for sharing it. Thank you for just coming in and keeping all of the taps and likes and subscriptions and all the things that need to go just to get this content out here. I really appreciate it. Let's see if I need to cover. Hey, okay, so we're gonna hit this a little bit more. But your normie job, what do you do for a normie job?
So I am a sales manager for Verizon Wireless.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. And that's where that story stops right now.
Kind of. Yes. No, I mean, we could definitely talk about it. It's
and we won't hit it too hard, but I definitely want to talk about it because I think it feeds into kind of where you are in life, right? And we'll really kind of look at that, and because ups and downs in life, I think, are really important, and they tell the story of a person. They really do. And then so we do need to do one thing really quick. We need to pause for our thumbnail shots. All right. So assume your pose, and we're going to pause for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you. All right, and that will be part of the thumbnail, whatever the thumbnail is going to look like. All right, guys. If everything is looking good, why did I pause also? How many of you paused? Hands up. How many of you in the room just paused and waited for cameo? All right. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for coming in. That's a sore subject. Yes, you are correct. But we'll get to some of those topics and everything, guys. And y'all know kind of how the show goes. We just start talking and we start working through everything. What happens on the shows happens. There's no editing this show. It's there live. And so what you see is what you get, guys. So I like a lot of you probably ran into this guy on TikTok in August. you know, for some reason, it's like I saw a video, I went, oh, cool, okay, like, swipe, and then within the next like 5 days, all I saw was Trendy Tech Dad. He was everywhere. TikTok loved pushing him and everything, you know. And so I reached out pretty quickly to you. I think right after I had seen you and the likes, and you had put out a video about just kind of wanting to talk a little bit more about the behind the scenes type stuff, and just kind of reached out to you. But it's kind of based on all the things that have been going on with him. It kind of instigated us getting a little bit quicker to the interview, and just trying to get to know him a little bit more and understand, you know, what was this rocket ship to fame? What did that look like? Where did he come from? All of the questions that you guys have in the room, and some of y'all probably know him way pre-August. And so you're the ones I want to have questions from. I want to see the questions down in the chat. I like to call it the peanut gallery. And so when you hear me say peanut gallery, I'm talking to you guys. But we're going to kind of dig into this. And so my very first question, we always at the top of the show, we like to get to know the life of the person better. But here's a question that I think really kind of shows like maybe where he sits. So which community between the people who 3D print, arguing about slicers, or the Android Apple people, which community is the most stubborn community?
Oh, that's a really good question, and I think they're both equally as stubborn, to be honest. I mean, I've been in the cellular thing for 25 plus years, so I have to say Android and Apple for sure, probably more than anything, just because I've been in it so long and so many years. But I can tell you, it's never really about it's not slicer settings that I see. It's whether or not you want to use adhesive on your bed or not. So that's the biggest. Like, people want to argue all the time about, like, oh man, if you use adhesive on your bed, like, you're not a true 3D printer.
Yeah.
So that would be the big one. So, but no, I definitely feel like Apple versus Android is still very, very real.
Yeah.
Those people just, man.
And I fall in the Apple camp. I know.
Oh, I do too. So.
Well, I have a crazy history. I sat at the year of the launch. I sat in a line for 26 hours to be the first person in my state to have the first iPhone. Okay. And so yeah, so I've been an Apple guy. I'm very much an Apple guy. A lot of people here know that the only reason I have a PC is for TikTok. But now, are you PC Apple?
So I know I mean, MacBook Pro, MacBook Air. I have a Windows like laptop down at my feet over here, but I barely ever open it up. And I do have an Android tablet over here, but I use it a little bit for Nomad Sculpt. You know what I mean? When I want to show off a larger screen, so it's got a 14.3 inch screen. But no, I'm primarily Apple. Okay. I absolutely love the ecosystem. I've always said that one of my sayings whenever I have customers that would walk into my store and they're like, "Oh, I'm thinking about going from Apple to Android." I said, "Well," they're like, "What? Why? Like, where? What? Why shouldn't I? Why should I?" And my biggest thing has always been, listen, if you switch from Apple to Android or vice versa, it's like changing religions halfway through your life, right? That's basically how I would describe it. You're basically going to wonder why you're doing the thing you're doing, right? Like, you know, like, because they both do the same thing. It's just how do they do it? It's the process.
Right.
So, and then the fact that there's no back button, that's always been the big thing. But now with Android, has all gone to the swipe based and all that good stuff. So it's all coming so much closer together. Right. On the Apple Android camp. So, but no, Apple has been my primary go-to. And even when I was a kid, the Mac 2SI was my very first computer as a family computer. So yeah, that was a good one. So
yeah, that was a good. That's awesome. That's awesome. At Cross 3D, you think I didn't try to put VM on my MacBook? Are you telling me you know me? You know me better than that. I did, and TikTok Live Studio did not work on it. So, you know, I had to, that's what it is. Now they've done the beta for Mac. Now it's out there. Everybody's working on the beta. It's much, 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 much better. So that is exciting. So we got lots of Apple easy mode, all the different comments in there. So definitely keep that going, guys. Keep your questions in the room. And the one thing I haven't done is, hey, this is who we're talking to tonight. This is Jason, the Trendy Tech Dad. And we're going to get to some of the base questions that we always ask, just to get those out of the way. And so the very first question, which this is always inspired by Nate's Print Shop. What is your favorite ice cream?
Chocolate peanut butter, specifically from Kilwins.
Kilwins. Okay.
Kilwins. Yes.
Okay.
If
All right.
if you're not familiar, Kilwins.
Kilwins. There's a few people
Chocolate
in
peanut butter.
here that we got Alex and some others that in that area that might know Kilwins. Any of y'all know
Yeah.
Kilwins? Raise your hand, guys.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for participating and the likes and everything. I really appreciate that. Sora Designs, thank you so much. Kilwins is good, says William. All right. Awesome. I don't know. You know, I was up in Michigan. I totally didn't get to try Superman ice cream. I was supposed to try the Superman whatever ice cream, and I did not. So I'll have to do it the next time.
Is Superman ice cream not like nationwide? Is that a Michigan thing?
I have never heard of it in my entire life. Never until like a month ago. Yeah. And so yeah. So I'll have to do that later. I'll have to try that out. All right. So favorite ice cream, we got that. Favorite TV show.
It's a loaded question. I watch a lot of TV. I mean, of all time, I mean, it has to be The Office and Parks and Rec.
Okay.
I mean, just because I've watched them so many times over and over and over again. So, but,
which one's better? There's
which one's better?
Yeah, come on. Which one would you like choose over the other? I would choose Parks and Recs over The Office. Yeah, I love The Office.
Yep. Nope. I was gonna say I would have said The Office post pandemic.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But like I do the Parks and Rec, the writing and the ensemble cast of that show, like it's amazing. Once you get past the first season, but you can say the same thing about The Office.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Parks and Rec is still if Parks and Rec is on, I will watch it every single time. Yeah. Like I'll leave that on.
The first show to ever make me fall in love with a goth girl.
There you go. Exactly. Yep. There you go.
Such a good character. Such a good character. Yes. All right. And now I believe you watch Stranger Things.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Any comments on the new season that just came out? No spoilers.
No spoilers. It's funny. My daughter is a huge Stranger Things fan as well. So we actually watched it with my wife and my daughter and I, and my wife and my daughter kept saying throughout the first 4 episodes that they felt like the acting just wasn't great this season. But I think by the time we got to that cliffhanger, you know what I mean, at the last episode, it all paid off. So no, I'm still bought in. I was like, can you guys just enjoy the show? Can you just enjoy the show, please?
I gotcha.
Like it's one thing that because I do watch a lot of movies. My wife runs a movie theater, and her family actually owns like the movie theaters up here in Northern Michigan. So she runs 3 of them for them, and so I go to see movies all the time by myself. So I'll just be alone in a theater at midnight watching movies. And sometimes I don't like to go with people because I'm like, I just want to enjoy this movie and I don't want to worry about whether or not you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
So that's my big thing.
Yeah. Well, that was in college. I had friends who ran the projectors, and they would let us go in after the theater had closed and go sit and watch the movies. That was like the best.
Yes. Yeah, I let my son play Grand Theft Auto on one of them for his birthday. One year. Yeah, he got to play Grand Theft Auto on his PS5 on the big screen, so in the theater, that was pretty awesome.
That is. So what's your favorite movie then?
So my favorite movie would have to be Ghostbusters.
Okay.
I can't deny that. As some of you may know, I had a cosplay nonprofit group called the Cherryland Ghostbusters. A buddy of mine, Nate, we ended up starting it in Northern Michigan. I have since stepped away. Nate still continues to. In fact, I just shared a Toys for Tots video for them. So if you support Toys for Tots, they're doing a Toys for Tots drive. So, but they're an amazing group of people. And that movie just resonated with me as a kid. I wore the VHS tape out as a kid when I got it for Christmas one year. And yeah, it's been in my lifeblood.
Okay.
Ever since. So and I just love the characters. So
I'm hearing that only one Ghostbusters movie exists in your paradigm?
No, that's not true. No, I like all the Ghostbuster movies. I mean, even the female Ghostbusters film from 2016. It's not my Ghostbusters movie for sure, but you know what? At the time, my daughter loved it, right? And even my kids loved the movie. So it's not for my generation. It was not made for my generation. Yeah. That's the way I look at it, and I think there's a place for it for sure. But yeah, I'm more about the original 2, and then obviously Afterlife and Frozen Empire. Like I'm all for them. Right. Like I love the movies. I love the fact I just want the genre to continue.
Right.
Right. I want to
Right.
support it so that it continues. That's the best. That's the best thing.
Yeah.
So
And the
definitely for the
same things happen to Star Wars, right? You know, it was a
yes.
kid movie when we grew up, and it's
Yep.
continued to be a kid movie even though we're adults, right?
Got
So,
it.
yeah. No, that's awesome. That is cool. So, all right. So let's get into some of the 3D printing and the makerspace stuff. First, are there any other machines besides 3D printers, like maker machines that you use?
No, there's not. So
Okay.
I want to get into like more like some laser engraving stuff. I just haven't had the time to and or the funds. You know, I've already had to explain to my wife why I have 9 3D printers behind me.
Right.
So like to add more to that right now, I don't think she'd be appreciative. But there is definitely room in the future for more. I would love to get into resin printing as well at some point. I think that would be a nice transition from the FDM printing. So, but yeah, no,
Okay.
right now it's just 3D printing.
Okay. Okay. Well, what was your first 3D printer?
Was the Bamboo Lab A1 combo,
Okay.
and I got it right on TikTok. Like I saw an influencer and he influenced me into buying it for sure. And I'm so grateful that happened because then I bought a second one right after it, like
Okay.
within 30 days. I ended up
Wow.
having 2 of them right off the bat. So, but my favorite was definitely I ended up moving very quickly into getting 3 and 4 and 5, and it snowballed. And I
Right.
think that's the point of this whole like 3D printing industry is that it's
Yeah.
it takes a while to 3D print a small flexy dragon thing. You know what I mean? So it's 6-7 hours on a printer. Well, what do I do for 6-7 hours? Well, if you had more than one printer, you could do more.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So.
And then when you have two running, you need
Right.
another one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need bigger.
Absolutely.
You need smaller. There's one you have to
Right.
take with you on vacation.
Bingo.
So.
Yes. Your travel 3D printer for sure.
Exactly. That's so your second one was an A1 combo as well.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, but I wouldn't call that my second one. So so what happened was when Bamboo first put out the A1, they had a bed issue
piece on
with
the
the
back.
heating.
Yeah.
Yep. So TikTok actually gave me a full refund for that, but did not have me send it back. So that was nice. And mine didn't have any issues, so I just continued to use it. And then I bought a second one, but then my third, technically second, would have been the P1S. So I stayed with the Bamboo family. I liked the ecosystem. I liked the idea of not having to switch between different slicing programs,
Right.
and that I could easily send multiple prints off, to the same printers. So I would call the P1S my second printer.
Okay, the P1S. Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, that's cool. Hey, Cross 3D. I don't have an A1 Mini. I have an A1. But my travel printer is my Prusa Mini. So
there you go.
so there you go.
Yeah.
But no, okay. So P1S. What else you got? What other printers do we have sitting back there?
So I've got the H2S, which is going to be this one right here, and then I have Then I have a P1S, another P1S, an X1 Carbon, and then I have the H2C, which is the new Vortex one, and then I have the Creality the Creality K2 Pro in the corner there.
Right.
And then I have a Flash Forge over here, and then I have another Creality K2 Creality High Combo.
High combo. Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, which
I've
Flash Forge?
I've since gotten rid of the A1. That was I had to make room.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah. Which Flash Forge do you have?
It is the Adventurer 5M Pro.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. He's catching up with me. Yeah, Lee Shepard, you better buy some new machines. Awesome. Now, which one's your favorite? Can you name a favorite? And it doesn't have to be favorite. What's the go-to? Maybe you're ready to print.
Yeah, my go-to is still my P1Ss.
Okay.
I use those 2 P1Ss more than any other printer out here. They're so dialed in with I get less failures on them. They're workhorses, and I want to get the most usage out of those since they're kind of the older printers, because I feel like those will be the ones that get moved on when I upgrade things.
Right.
So I tend to still print majority of there. Now, if I'm doing a multicolored print now, the H2C is definitely my go-to, just because of the vortex and the less, the waste being so little on those. But which that's what I'm printing on right now behind me. But yeah, my P1S is still my go-to. printer for sure.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. 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 Well, guys, get your questions in the room. For everybody new who is joining us, we are talking to our friend Jason over at the Trendy Tech Dad. He's kind of an up and coming guy. He came out of nowhere, and we're going to be talking about that in a little bit, just to kind of get some of those questions answered. But we're asking some things just to try to understand who he is and why he does what he does. And one of the things I'm always interested in is kind of what did Trendy Tech Dad look like in like elementary school and junior high? Was he a nerd? Was he a jock? What choir? What did you do?
Well, okay, so performing arts.
Okay.
Performing arts all 4 years of my high school career. I even lettered in it.
Oh,
I don't even know why that's not a flex by any means. But yeah, so I was the performing arts kid. I did football my freshman year in high school, mainly more for my dad than for me. My dad was the jock. He was a quarterback for one of the major schools down in Detroit, Etzel Ford.
Okay.
He got a scholarship to Central Michigan, and then he ended up not finishing and ran his own business and all that kind of stuff. So he was the jock. He was that guy who really wanted me to be a football player, and I was the kid who loved to sing and dance. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I wasn't the ideal son at that point in my life for sure, but I still did some things to appease. So I did football 1 year, but no, I was the performing arts kid. I was the nerdy kid. I didn't do like D&D nerdy.
Right.
I loved toys like as a kid, and I still love toys to this day. I mean, you can clearly see from my surroundings. I like toys. I still buy toys. I mean, even to this day. So. But yeah, no, I'm definitely I wouldn't call myself like nerdy, but geeky would be a good word to use. Yeah, I think there's a difference between those two terms.
Yeah, I would agree.
Nerd, you got a geekiness. Like I've always been more towards the geekiness of things.
So, do you have a favorite musical or something that you've done?
So my favorite like actual musical of all time would be Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
As a kid, I used to sing it all the time.
Okay.
And then. You probably won't believe this, but I used to have the voice of an angel. So when I was in high school, I had all the solo parts, and I would be the one that got the standing ovation of singing. I still sing, but I can't hit any of those notes anymore.
You'll have to join me on karaoke night sometime.
There you go.
We have fun karaoke nights.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds great. So yeah, I do love to sing still, so that's a big one. But I'm a huge fan of musical. Like Hamilton is just like it's on my playlist all the time.
Okay.
I was never really a big fan of Les Mis. Everyone loves Les Mis. I just was never a huge fan of it personally. But yeah, no, there's I did Beauty School Dropout from Greece. So I sang that for my one of my years. No, so there's just been a lot of different songs out there. But when I was a kid, my parents took me to Toronto, and so I could see Phantom of the Opera at the Chelsea Theater in Toronto, and that really spurred my like wanting to sing and to do all those things. So that was always my go-to. I love that soundtrack. So
I get that. I was gonna say you must have never seen Les Mis on stage. I'm not a big.
That is correct. I never did. You are right. You are right.
I'm not a big fan of the music. But the show is what made me go, okay. Yeah. And so see, I felt the same way about Hamilton at first. When I first heard the music, I was like, okay. Then I saw it, and I was like, okay. Like so I saw it with my daughter and my wife on Broadway. Okay. Just last year, and even before that, I fell in love with it when I watched it on on television and stuff during the the whole Disney Plus run. But it was one of those like. When I heard the music, I was like, I didn't understand it. Right? It was because it was such a different genre of music. Yeah. Now I can sing every bar if you really you gave me a chance. So, but that's definitely not going to throw away my shot. That's for sure. Yeah, so. I'm kind of more along the lines of like Rent and any Sondheim musical. I'm very much into. I did. I was that kind of geek. I was I lettered because I was water boy on the football team, but I was in choir and theater, and so I'm right there with you, right there.
Yeah, I've seen Rent too. So I've seen that in person, and obviously the movie and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Rent's a huge one too. So
yeah,
no.
My biggest pride moment is probably the moment I went to Chicago. We were going to see Wicked. It was the first run off Broadway. We walk in, we open the playbill, and a piece of paper falls out, and it says, "Tonight, the lead will be replaced by Adina Menzel." And so I
Wow.
actually got to see her in
Wow.
Wicked. I was like,
Yes.
yeah.
That's awesome. That is great.
So, all right, guys, we're going to keep geeking out here. I need you guys to continue sharing this out and bring more and more people in here to meet Jason, our trendy tech dad. We're excited to talk to him tonight and just learn so much more about him and the things that he does. Now, were you ever like a guy who took things apart? Did you like fixing things?
I broke things a lot.
Okay.
That would be. I was always known for breaking my parents' computer and wanting to, upgrade the software and then having it crash, and then I was blamed for everything. But yes, I have a very ADHD mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny. Around my studio, you'll find piles of things, right? Because I start a project and then I move on to something different, and so I'm very ADHD in that way. But yeah, no, I love to tinker.
Okay.
I love to break things and take them apart and figure out why they work and then try to put them back together. Not always successfully, but yeah, that's definitely me.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. So last question before we like kind of start digging into some other stuff, and this is another one of those favorites. So with all of that and your 3D printers and is there a favorite 3D print? Something like your favorite thing you have ever printed?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, I'm making a giant Doctor Doom statue, which is right over this way. But so that one is cool. That's like the coolness factor. But I would say my favorite thing that I've printed so far is it was last Christmas actually, and my wife had bought my nephew this. It was a tank, and it was about it was a decent sized tank. And I looked over at her. I'm like, does he like tanks? Like, why did we buy? Because I don't buy the Christmas gifts, right? Like that's just not in my wheelhouse. She's like, no, he wanted to play with it with his Godzilla, and I was like, okay. So I printed there's a mechanized Godzilla file out there that I know everyone, if anybody's within they've seen it.
Yeah.
But I upscaled it 300% and I built it, and it was giant. Like, I mean, it's like I've got a picture of me holding it. Like it is giant. The tail would go across the entire desk. And to see him open that on his birthday just a few months later was very rewarding. And his dad's actually reached out. My brother-in-law's reached out to me a couple of times. He's like, hey, so one of these parts came off. Can we like get a replacement? I was like, yes, we can. I mean, absolutely. So that's part of, if I'm giving a 3D printed gift, that I'm like, there's a warranty. How long that warranty goes for, I don't know yet.
Right.
So, but yeah, if I still have the file, I'll definitely be printing, replacement parts as they come. So,
exactly.
But yeah, that would be my most rewarding one, just to see my nephew's eyes light up. Now, to watch my other kids look at me and go, "Where's mine?" Right? Like, where's my giant Godzilla? Because I have 3 small boys, and I'm like, yeah, you're not getting one because we don't have enough room in the house for it. So, but yeah, it was very rewarding, and I was very proud of that one. So.
And that's one of the exciting things about 3D printing, right? Even just a simple, like, there's a cactus that you press down and toothpicks come out of. There's different things that you can get, and giving them to people and just seeing the look on their face of, wow, I like this, thank you so much. And I think that's one thing that's really special about the maker space itself. And we can always have a conversation about what a maker is, but I think that tendency of maker is to hey, wait, let's have a discussion about this. Why don't we do that? The tendency is to think of makers as people who just play with machines, but it's so much more about, at least to me, about experimentation and understanding. And how would you define what a maker is?
I think that a maker is, I have a saying that I go back to every single time, and I've said this on my lives a couple of times, but failure is just success in progress. Okay. So like, I truly believe that. I actually have that sign at my store, right at my Verizon location, on top of a water cooler. I 3D printed a sign that says it, because I truly do. Like I live that motto, all the time, because I think that with failures comes the success, you know what I mean? And challenging yourself to do something different and new. I think a maker is anybody who tries to do anything.
Okay.
Honestly. And there's always a debate of like, are you the 3D printer? Is the printer the 3D printer? Who's the 3D
Right.
printer? Right. And I believe that we're all like part of the process, right? That's no different than a wrench, right? A mechanic, right, has a wrench, or you know what I mean, or a socket set, or an air screw gun. I don't know. I'm not a techie. That's outside my realm. Let's talk about technical stuff now. But anyway, like that's just a tool, right?
Right.
A 3D printer is a tool that I'm using in order to create something. Now, some people want to say, well, is AI, you know what I mean, the creator of your item, or did you 3D, did you model it yourself? You know what I mean? Does that make you a maker? You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think the bigger thing for me has been like, because I've used AI a lot in this process. I have so many ideas, and I know there's a lot of people out there that can resonate with this, right? I have so many ideas up in my head that I would love to be able to articulate, right? But I'm not an artist, right? So I'm not an artist that can take this with a canvas and paint a Picasso, right? But I can dream such amazing, vivid things up here, but I have such a hard time getting them out into the real world, right? And this is where 3D printing has really, and artificial intelligence has given me a new avenue to really express myself in a new medium. And that's what I'm really most excited about, is the fact that you can think of something, you can type it into ChatGPT, and you can spend hours, by the way, mastering, right, the way that AI will give you things. But then you can take what AI gives you and you can drop that into a Nomad Sculpt or a Blender or a program, and then you can start manipulating it from there. So it's giving you the ingredients to make a final project, right? The thing that just printed and just finished is an articulated dragon, or not dragon, a dinosaur that I created on my live from earlier today. I didn't 3D model it, right? But it's unique to me. It's a new product that it was made. You know what I mean? It's the only one that exists right now, right? Yeah. So I would say that makes me a maker.
Yeah. Okay. I have a tendency, so I think of it like how you use the tools. It's like you mentioned the mechanic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know plenty of mechanics, but I would not say that every mechanic is a maker.
Sure.
To me, it's kind of this driven by curiosity, experimentation, and it kind of in the way that you use the tools. So like a mechanic who goes home and rips a car apart and makes some other version of that car,
sure,
to me would be more of a maker. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you?
No, that's a good point. I think with my analogy with the mechanic would be like, if you're defining a mechanic by someone who uses a tool to make something, right? I think you're defining a maker the same way,
okay,
right? So
yeah.
A maker is anybody who's using a tool that can make something, right?
Right.
And if you are able to produce something, even if it's a replica of something, right? Because there is nuances to printing somebody else's files. Not everyone's successful,
right?
Or as successful as the next person, right? Because there are settings and there are there are little things that you've learned along the way, right, to make that file, make that print stand out from the rest.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I totally get that. That's awesome. And I think that's a good conversation. And guys, I see y'all having the conversation in the chat as well. That's always something I'm searching for is, I'm trying to build a maker community. What is a maker? And I think these are definitely important conversations to have, and I'll ask this question because this question we're definitely going to cover, but I'm going to get, because I want to make sure I read it right. Do you think that appliance 3D printers, you have a bunch of them, are making people better creators or making them lazy? Don't answer it, because we're going to come back. I'm going to let you think about that, and we're going to take that to the break. I'll be right back in just a second. I'm going to throw you to the green room. Guys, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. We are having fun talking to Jason, our new friend, somebody we've just seen recently. Guys, I see all of y'all hanging out and saying hello, good evening, and I appreciate it. I think we just got a raid. That's always exciting. So thank y'all for coming in and joining us. We are talking to Jason. We've still got another 30 minutes to go, so please do not leave. I do want to talk to you about a couple of things, though, before we move back to that. One, I always want y'all to know about the Discord. We have a Discord for Asylum Life where we talk about the topics that are going to be here. We also we're trying to experiment and try new things. We're playing with Meshtastic right now. We've got some guys who are really great at AI. We have classes every month. There are a lot of things going on over in the Discord, and I would like you to be a part of it. So please jump in, be a part of the community, because this next year we are going to blow and go and do some really amazing things. I'm excited. We've started meetups. We've had about 3 meetups this year, and we're going to keep those going. So please join the Discord, guys. I also want to remind everybody about the Toddler Mobile Trainer, or the TMT. I've seen a lot of people talking about that. That's the 3D printable wheelchair. Anybody can print this wheelchair. It's for training children how to use wheelchairs and how to roll themselves and be mobile themselves. It was created by a group called Make Good and 3D Print Cares, and they're a group that's in the server. They have their own category under Asylum Life. They are actually helping Make Good get those printed and to the children who are requesting them. So that file is actually over on Maker World, but if you go to 3dmobility.org, you can find out more about that wheelchair. It's a great thing that's going on. There are a lot of people involved, so jump in as you can. Always feel free to reach out to the 3D Print Cares people in the Discord. Also, Brady and Bensky, they're the ones who head up 3D Print Cares. So feel free to always DM them if you have any questions. There's a great team over there working on that. And so I encourage each and every one of you to be a part of that. Hey, yes, we had a great meetup at Polar Filament last week. It's good to see you guys. Thank y'all for coming in. So the Toddler Mobility Trainer, next Tuesday, no show. The reason why we have no show is we're going to all go support Joel Telling's show. This is his big Christmas fundraiser for the hospital that he supports over in Seattle. And so we're going to go hang out over there with Joel Telling, and we're going to help him reach the goal that he is aiming for this year. So I'm really excited. You can get over there to his channel. You can find out more about that, but that's going to be December 16th. That's next Tuesday. We'll be heading over there. So I think all of y'all should slide that way Tuesday night, and we'll just make it a great event. Then, yeah, that's it, guys. Just for everybody new that's here, we are a value for value show. And I know most people don't know what that means, but here's how I explain it. There's 3 things. There's time, talent, and treasure, right? And so I want to give you value. And if you value what I give you, you give value back. And that's part of being a community. And so that's where I talk about the time, talent, treasure, giving of your time. Coming here, being at the show is giving your time. And I appreciate you being here more than you know. You know, that's what's the most important to me, is us being together and just doing the things that we do. So time, then talent. If you have a talent you want to lend to the community, people who want to teach classes, people who want to do artwork, people who want to help in production, people who want to help on projects, people who have talents in certain areas, we're looking for you in the community. Would like you to come be a part of that. And then treasure, I'm not going to talk about that. Y'all know all that stuff means. And so there's no reason for me to belabor that, but that's something that helps the community keep running. It gives me the time, right? So I don't have to go out and do other things. So we can keep stuff going. So that's what value for value means. That's the type of community that we are. And we are growing. This has been an amazing year. We're going to recap this towards the end of the year so everybody sees how we've reached the goals and the different things that we are doing. But thank you so much for being here tonight. So we're going to bring our friend Jason back up in here. All right. So Trendy Tech Dad, August 3rd, I think, was the date of the first video I saw on TikTok. And there ain't no way that was your first video.
No, definitely not. So yeah, I actually I started this whole journey a couple of years ago. I had a totally different account. It was called Ecto88 Falcon, where I dressed up like a Ghostbuster and did fun TikTok dances, and that started to pick up steam. And then I wanted to shift my persona. I wanted to shift and do something different. So I started this account, and this account originally started more for TikTok shop than anything else, to be honest.
Okay.
That's where the Trendy Tech Dad comes in, because I was getting a lot of technical stuff, boom mics and laptops and things that I could, from TikTok Shop that I could do videos about, right?
Right.
And then I was influenced into buying a 3D printer, and I found the 3D Print Talk community on TikTok. And August is when I decided to shift and to change. Now, I have seen some. I've gotten some. I don't want to say negativity, but I've gotten some messages, right, about like, hey, like I love your 3D printing content, but now that I follow you, I'm getting all these TikTok shop videos.
Yeah.
So I can't help the algorithm, unfortunately, with TikTok, but I did like 460 videos last year or this year.
That's crazy.
And a lot of those were TikTok shop videos. So as this goes forward and I'm doing more 3D printing videos, obviously that algorithm will shift. I still do TikTok shop videos, but I'm trying to tailor those more for things that I use inside the 3D printing side of the space. Now, don't get me wrong though, if there's a really cool thing I want, I still request it, and if I get it, great, I'll do a video about it. So because I like tech, I like trendy things.
Right.
So part of the name. So yeah, I really have enjoyed TikTok. I like the platform. It's easy to use, and it's done well for me. We just reached 100,000 followers on this page, which is just absolutely incredible. And you're right, August seemed like it all of a sudden like picked up steam, and I got a lot of people going, I've never seen you before in my life, and now all I see is you on the For You page. What is going on? Yeah. Right? And I'm like, well, I don't really know. All I know is that clearly the algorithm likes me right now, and I'm just going to ride that wave as much as possible.
Yeah.
Which is great. So it slowed down a little bit, but yeah, I think as of today, I think we were at 103K awesome. Followers, which is awesome. I even 3D printed myself my own award, you know what I mean? So that I could feel special, right?
And built it in AI.
So that's,
and you built it in AI. So
yeah. So, but yeah, it's one of those, it's awesome to be here. I don't want the progress to end, right? I just want to keep moving in the right direction. And sorry, I'll make sure I block this so it's not glaring in the background. So, but I'm really excited for like the community and what we're trying to build. And that's really what's the most important thing right now is building this 3D printing community of like-minded individuals that, are wanting to learn how to be the best 3D printer they can, even, and not having to be an expert at CAD or design, to be able to buy a 3D printer and to start, this journey at some point. And I think in giving people the autonomy to do that and the courage to do that, that's been really rewarding.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Whew. There is so much to unpack there, guys. But first, before we get into unpacking that, I want to tell you that over on YouTube, the very first video on his channel is him doing one of those Ghostbuster dances. So get over there, watch that video, and blow it up. Let's make sure everybody sees that. All right.
Great. Yes, please do that.
Yeah.
Sure.
And hey, if you're looking for those other channels and those other places to find out more about him, there is the place that you go, the Trendy Tech Dad 1. Make sure you put the 1 at the end over there. He apparently was not the first Trendy Tech Dad.
Or I was, and I don't remember what that account password is. That could also be the issue. I just don't know. So.
All right. That's awesome. And we're going to unpack all of that. But guys, I've got on my list of questions, and I think everybody in the 3D printing space has some form of ADHD or something. And so my brain goes over to this. What is your best dad joke?
Ooh. Oh, God. The only one that comes to mind is what's big, yellow, and can't swim.
What's big, yellow, and can't swim? Okay.
Yeah. A bulldozer. Like that's it. The go-to. or a horse walks into a bar, bartender says, "Why the long face?"
There you go.
That's the two.
He's got jokes.
The two that come to mind.
He's got them.
I'll be here only for the next 20 minutes.
That's going to be the new feature on his live. You's going to tell a new dad joke every. Probably not. Yeah. Probably not. But cool. So you said so much there, and I think when I go back, because I always study everybody's content, and I try to get to every social media platform and watch all the content that people have. And I'm so glad you deleted so much of what you no, but it's really interesting. So we see you as far as August of this last year, right? And then I can go to another channel. I can see like your first video in 2022 on YouTube. Then your next one was in 2023, and then your next one was 2025, right? And so there's these big gaps in content and things that are happening. But I think it shows kind of a wanting to do something, but not quite sure how to do that something. And so
Yeah.
I think how many times do you feel like you retooled yourself or tried to figure out how to reinvent yourself or your video style before you started kind of clicking with what you have?
I mean, it's funny if you go back even to August and watch some of my videos from then till now, like it's a completely different format. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? The aesthetic is different. I'm still retooling the way my videos look right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
upgrading cameras and audio and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, to answer your question, probably 12 different times I've tried to reinvent myself to try to figure out what I want to do. But I think every time I keep coming back to something similar, and that's the teaching and the encouraging and the wanting to help people. That has always remained the
Yeah.
same, but the content has changed for sure.
Okay.
Um, Also, making money is good, but it's not the end all and be all,
Right.
right? You need it to do these things, right? So, and that's where the idea of of could this be a full time thing in the future comes in, and working into all of that and creating the Patreon and the Discord that we have just this past month. All of that stuff is hopefully leading in the right direction. It takes grit though, and it takes drive and determination, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
There's a grind to it, like I mean, I did 70 plus videos in August just in that 1 month. Not all of them are 3D printing, but those all take time, and working a full-time job plus doing this a full-time, it's not easy. And
Yeah.
whenever someone comes to me and says, "Oh man, how are you being so successful on TikTok? Like, how did you get to 100,000 followers?" And I'm like, I go home and do 4 videos a night minimum. And they look at me and they're like, I'm out. That's nope, not doing that. And it's like, okay, well, if you don't have that drive and that determination, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
It's going to, unless you blow up with one massive video. And normally, if you're blowing up on a video, it's normally because you're making a fool out of yourself or something, happens. Like you slip and
Right.
fall in your driveway, you know what I mean, with your
I
garbage
love
can.
that video.
So,
I was looking, I'm like, that's him.
yeah, well, that was me. That was me, 100%. And you know what the funny part is? I immediately turned it into a video meme. Like
Yeah.
I didn't even hesitate, And now my kids are watching it on their iPads, and everybody at my work has it. Like, and I'm okay with it.
That's great.
I'm okay making a little bit of a fool out of myself.
One day you might make the animated GIF section on like the iPhone or Discord or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Great.
That could be incredible. That could be incredible. And you keep going. You keep giving me so many things to unpack.
Sorry, I'm giving you lots of juicy
You're
nuggets
good.
to pull from.
You're good.
Sorry.
I love it. I love it because that's really where, and when I look at all you do, and I kind of get that perception of a story of what is going on. I see in so many creators the ups and downs, the things that are the times when they are just driven, and the other times when they're like, I can't do this today. I want to stay in bed.
Yep.
And I talk to some people who say, this is my job. I treat it like a job. They cannot ever stay in bed. And then there's other people that say, I just let myself stay in bed and then I come back to it later, and so everybody has these different ways they look at it. But I think the consistency is the part of it, the drive and everything. And one thing before I let him start talking again, I want you guys to listen to the things he says, because how many people do you know that go, I made 73 videos in August, or I made 400 last year, or think about what he's doing. Think about his machinations and his operations and how he does what he does and why those numbers are important to him as we have these conversations, because that tells you a totally different story about what's happening in his head and behind the scenes than what you see on screen. And that's what we're all about here, guys. And so if you were talking to somebody who says, I just want to stay in bed today, what advice do you give them? What do you say?
It's a great question. it's hard to say anything other than if you want to be successful, you have to drive, and you have to push yourself outside your comfort zone, right? I think the biggest thing I get from people is they don't want to put themselves on camera,
Mm,
right? They're afraid
yeah.
to be on camera. And to that, I say, when I first started doing this, yeah, I did it in my basement. I did it behind a closed door. I didn't want my family to see me doing it. Like it wasn't that I was ashamed, right? It was just I was nervous and I didn't know what to do.
Hmm.
Now I'll do a video in front of my family, in front of I really don't care if anybody's watching, and I think
Right.
that comes from repetition and doing it and pushing yourself outside your comfort zone and knowing that there's an end goal in mind, right? So I have an end goal. I want to do this full time, right? That's my goal,
Okay.
right? And I know that I need to get there, and the only way I get there is by driving myself, right, to it's a product. You're trying, I'm the product, right? Like my knowledge, my drive, my energy, like I am what people are investing in when they're on Patreon or they're watching in the live here.
Right.
They're invested in what's happening in my life, and I owe it to those individuals, right, to show up in some way, shape, or form. Now, I think it's very important to note that, you know, if you need an off day, take the off day, right? Take that downtime,
Yeah.
because you don't want to get burned out doing any of this. Whether that's 3D printing, content creation, whatever it might be, it's like I'll use yesterday as a great example. I came home from work. I was exhausted, got the kids in bed, did all the things I needed to do. And then I just laid there in bed, and I was actually messaging people on my Patreon, making sure that they had access to our Discord. And then I had 2 or 3 people reach out and they're like, hey, could you help me with these files? And I said, yeah, I absolutely can. Like, I don't know when I'll be able to, do it. Cause I was just laying in bed and I was exhausted, but I got myself up and I went downstairs and I sat in front of my computer and I sent out 4 files to 4 different people. Right.
All right.
And hopefully, like, my thought process behind that is I want people to be able to show up for me because I'm showing up for them.
Right.
Right. And if someone's going to invest time and energy and their own hard earned money in me, right, then I owe it to them to show up. And when I do a video, when I sit down and I produce that video, and sometimes I don't think people understand how long it takes to do a video. Like that little flexi thing that I have in the back there, I'm going to do a full-fledged video on it. I started that video this morning, technically, right? And I'll finish it probably tomorrow or the next day. So it's a 2 or 3 day process to produce those things. So it takes drive and determination. And if you think, how do I skip step 1 and get straight to the step 25 that makes me money?
Mhm.
You're not going to be successful.
Right.
Like, you're just not, because you have to take it from step 1 all the way through step 25 in order to be successful in doing any of this. You have to be willing to take the downtime, the days that don't add up, the days that don't add up to any financial gains, right? But you may be making ground in other areas.
Yeah.
And that's what I've found personally with me in this whole scenario, is that getting to 100,000 followers from August till now. I mean, I gained almost 60,000 followers.
Wow.
In less than 6 months. That is success. And
Yeah.
you have to celebrate that some way. It may not go into my bank account yet, right? Because that's what money makes the world go round.
Yeah.
But the influence and the helping and the people that you meet, like yourself, JC, this is stuff that I can't quantify. There's no ROI on this.
Right.
Right. It's just me putting myself out there and trying to build a community of people that want to show up for each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you celebrate those moments? I know, like, one video you talked about having a cake, but
Yeah.
what are ways that when you have those moments, what do you do to celebrate?
So far I've been just doing a live so I can celebrate it with the people that are helping me get there.
Yeah.
So that's been really good. I make myself, I guess I make myself statues and awards for myself, which is great. That's very, very rewarding. Honestly, I like to also celebrate by helping others. In fact, you talked about the wheelchair, from Make Good. Like, I also volunteered to do that. In fact, I have below my desk here, I have 2 pieces of it right here, right, that I've actually started printing, and I ran out of blue and I ended up doing blue and black. And so but I have 2 pieces of it right here. And I've actually told everybody that, for the first month of my Patreon, I was going to take the money from that and I'm going to buy all the necessary PET G and the accessories to make that wheelchair, because it's not about me necessarily, and the whole like, wanting to do this full time. I want people to know that it's not just about me financially, me and my financial gains. It's about, again, the community of making sure that, people want to show up and they want to learn, and that it's not a toxic environment,
Right.
and that we're all here to help each other.
Yes.
That's the best thing.
Definitely.
So yeah, that's
100%
how I
agree
celebrate.
with that.
It's a weird way of celebrating, but I celebrate that way. I celebrate by telling other people how amazing they are and helping me get to where I'm at.
Yeah.
So, but that also comes from my job currently, being in sales, being a leader of people, right?
Yep.
I've always truly believed that you have to. I think of everyone like a bank, right? And you have to make deposits inside their personal bank, right? In order for you to take a withdrawal later on if you ever needed to. Right. So I always treat people that way, that I want to fill their bank up as with much money as possible, because someday I might have to call in a favor. I might have to ask something of somebody.
Yeah.
And if they feel fulfilled by what I've brought to them, then they're more willing to say, yes, I'm willing to help out. What do we need to do?
Yeah. That's great. That is great. And that's good. And that helps build up support systems. That helps build up so many just different things, not even just monetarily, but emotionally and so many other things. And, I know you have recently, and, you've talked about your job a little bit, and there's just a little crazy thing happening with your job right now.
Yeah.
And, we don't have to dig too far down into that. If you want to share some of it, you can. But I think it leads to, when you have nothing to celebrate, how do you do that?
That's a good point. So 16 years with Verizon. I was one of the 13,000 people that were, severanced, basically, which is by the way, a great show if you've never watched that on Apple TV.
It is.
So not the kind of severance you want, though, unfortunately.
No, it might be a nice one. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I might actually prefer that at this point. So that way I wouldn't even know if I lost my job.
Yeah.
16 years with that with Verizon, 25 years total with selling cell phones, but 16 years with Verizon. I've cherished my time with Verizon. They have rewarded me greatly with my work ethic. I would owe a lot to that company. So there's nothing wrong with that company. Did the live just end?
The TikTok live did.
Oh, weird. Okay, I just saw it ended on my end. There it goes, or maybe not. Yeah, but anyway, so I'll let you handle that on your end.
Yeah,
so
you
I'll
keep
continue
talking.
to talk. But basically, with that being said, I think the way that you combat those negative feelings when life gets you down, right, is you have to be willing to pivot, and you have to be willing to reinvent, right? And you talked about that earlier, of how many times have I had to reinvent myself. And honestly, again, I use the number 12, but it's probably more than that. You just have to be willing to change your trajectory if you need to, and pivot, and be comfortable with that.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Yeah. I agree with that. So, guys, for those of you who are watching, just want to let y'all know that we are sitting here. We're talking to Jason for the TrendyTechDad, and I'm working on some technical difficulties that we are having. I apologize if you are one of the ones who are receiving the issues that are happening there, but we're just about to fix that. So we have hit the go live on the TikTok Live Studio app. So we should be back up and running for any of you who are jumping around and trying to get to other places where this is seen, but this will pop back up here in just a second. If you go back to my account, you will see it pop up. There should be a live there if you're looking in there. Give it about 10 seconds if you don't see it.
It wouldn't be fun if there wasn't some type of technical difficulty.
It's like I said at the top of the show, it would not be my show if we didn't have technical difficulties. When you use the app, there's usually that puzzle piece. Well, using Streamlabs, I have never had TikTok cut out like that. So I don't know what happened there. I'm sure there's a ding somewhere, and I'll find out tomorrow that, I've been banned or something. Who knows? We all go through that, right? Very, very much so. Sure. But thank you for your patience, guys. Thank y'all for coming back. I really, really appreciate it. We are going to keep going with this. I am paying attention, so we're going to jump on it pretty quickly. I see all the people trying to Oh, okay. Sorry. People are following. We've got a raid going on. We've got some stuff happening over on YouTube. Sorry about the TikTok thing, but it should be back up now. If you're good with YouTube, stay there. Wherever you are, that is all good. Thank y'all. But thank y'all for sticking with it. Y'all just have no clue how much I appreciate that. And just, I never thought there would be a day where people wanted to watch me talk to people, right? Who knew? So I appreciate so much y'all being here and being a part of this, and y'all helping me come back with the questions and everything. Because getting to know these guys, getting those content creators that we love is really important. Yeah. So here's kind of where the question, as far as the time, those times of trouble, those times of, you don't have celebrations and everything. So people who've been following me for a while, I kind of talk about a time in my life where I felt like a tool that people use to get things done, right? And you end up in a place where you don't feel like people want to be around you unless you can add something to their life or you can fix a problem for them. And so you end up
Right.
being this problem solver, right? And you end up going down and digging and digging and digging to try and find ways to solve situations or fix problems, or right. And so we end up kind of in almost these depressed times, or this time where, for me, that's when I don't want to get out of bed, right?
Sure.
And I think that support structure is so important. And if we lost social media today and you had a time like that, what does your support system look like?
I mean, my direct family. I've got a few close friends that I still confide in, and but it would be pretty small, to be honest. And I would feel very isolated. I think that's one of the best parts about social media if you use it correctly,
Mhm.
right? And you don't let it drag you down, because I think it's very easy to allow it to drag you into the bad places. You have to find the silver lining, and you have to. I like to say you have to become Teflon. You got to be a non-stick, right?
Right.
So a negative comment here and there, that's okay. Like I usually lean right into them, and I'm okay taking a negative comment, here and there. And Yeah, it's one of those situations where like I lean into my family greatly. My dad passed away when I was 18, so
Mm.
my family became very tight knit after that happened with my mom and my sister. And then I've got 5 children of my own, 3 grandchildren as well. So I've got I've got a large family just from what I've created.
Right.
And So yeah, it's really my family, and my a few close personal friends. I'm actually very guarded when it comes to like who I let into my life, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
You think that I'm an open book, which I am. I'm willing to talk about anything, right? And I get on lives and I talk to people, but when it comes to like the people that I allow into my life, and like it's a select group of people that I will, that I really let get close.
Yeah.
And Yeah, so it's not a huge support group, but it's definitely one that's strong.
Yeah. Well, and I would say that of any support group, I think, we're all have a tendency of being guarded, right? And there's a difference between being an open book that people can look at and actually like opening up and sharing the emotional and sharing the things that happen in the brain,
Yeah,
the way you speak to yourself, right? And that
right,
is a small select group
for sure.
that you have to talk to. And so and that's one of the reasons I like hitting these topics, is because we're both creating communities, right? You've
Right.
got your Patreon, your Discord, the people who come to your TikTok lives,
Yeah.
who inevitably open up to you as well. And you know, in the time I've been doing this, I've got some really close friends that I have developed some relationships with, and I would say they are right there in that support system,
Yep.
right? Because and I'm talking to the peanut gallery right now, guys, because I want y'all to understand this, and because it's really important, especially for the content creators you love, for the people around you that you love. There's so much going on in people's lives you have no clue about, right? There's so many times we think, oh, so and so did this because you don't know. You have no clue why they did what they did or why they're acting the way they do unless you're part of that inner circle. All right. And being a part of that inner circle, there's a responsibility of, hey, I've noticed your behavior's changed. What's going on? Right. And so that's the communities I think both of us strive to create, not just one where we're just teaching, where we're just, doing the daily 3D printer makerspace stuff, but to help you find other people to be a part of their lives so that as a community you can support each other. I know one of our one of my favorite creators, On the Road 3D Printing, is his name, and he always says, rising tide lifts all benchies, right? And so I think that's an important thing to talk about when it comes to these times of look at TrendyTechDad and what he just went through, right? And he didn't go lay down in bed. Well, he may have.
I did.
We didn't see him do that. Yeah, we didn't see him do that. But what we saw was, all right, I've got a video to shoot. We're going to talk about this today, right? Now, what pushes you to do that? What makes you feel like you need to do that?
It's like a poor man's therapy, the way that I look at it. So
yeah.
I talk to the camera so I don't have to pay for somebody else to listen to me.
I got you.
So that's the honest truth, that I use it for. It's like I'm using the audience as much as the audience is using me, right? In that aspect. So they're getting enjoyment because I'm being transparent and honest and vulnerable, right? People love vulnerability. I'm okay being vulnerable with people. And I'm using them because I'm able to get my emotions out, right? I'm not necessarily crying and, on camera, but I'm able to be my authentic self and talk to people. And I find that therapeutic.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that's a great way to look at it. I really, really do. And you got about 5-10 more minutes to finish up a couple of questions, or do you need to run? I don't want to go over time for you.
No, let's keep going. We're good.
So with all of that, and you talk about Verizon, and I know in your videos you said, I'm losing my job, but to keep my job, but to keep whatever they're going to leave me with at the end of this, I have to continue December 16th, I think. So next Tuesday, guys, is when that happens. I have to act as if this is an important job to me, and I have to treat it in the way that I've always treated it. And I know you've spoken to the philosophy of your dad. Kind of explain that a little bit to everybody.
Sure. So like my dad always told me that whenever you do a job, you do it 110%. Like you don't ever give it anything less than that. Someone lends you a tool, you give it back in better shape than what you got it, right?
Yeah.
Like that was always instilled in me. And then the other thing that he always told me was when you walk out the door, you not only walk out the door with your last name, but my last name. Okay. So, so like the way I look at it is this, like, and don't get me wrong. Have I given it 110%? No. The wound within Verizon is deep. It is deep, and they just keep pouring salt into it a little bit. So, so that's going to take a long time to get past. Okay. So I'll say that, but that doesn't mean that I haven't shown up for my team and the people that need me to show up for them. So my direct subordinates, like the people that I oversee, like those are the most important people to me. And it's less about Verizon and more about the individual.
Yeah.
And I think that then that corresponds right back to, our Discord and the Patreon and TikTok and everybody that I've gotten to meet doing this so far, is that it's not just about me, it's about the collective, right? It's about culture, and wanting to make sure though that if I ever run into these, I live in a small town. So if there's a good chance I could be working for, or I could be managing the same people in a different industry someday, right? I want to make sure that when they show up, they know that, hey, this guy was good to me, right? He was a decent human being. He was understanding, right, of my needs at the time and all that kind of stuff. So, it's been difficult to show up in the way that I've shown up, but I'm glad that it's coming to an end, to be honest, that I don't have to pretend much anymore,
right,
after the 16th. But at the same time, like it's still scary to think about what the next step is and what we're going to be doing. And but here we go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's you gotta put on your big boy pants, and you gotta still get up, and you can't lay in bed, and you have to still grind and drive and push yourself outside your comfort zone. My comfort zone is losing my job would be the biggest uncomfortable moment of my life, right?
Yeah.
It's my job has defined me for 16 years. So to lose that, to have that taken away from you, it's not just disheartening,
Yeah.
it's debilitating, right? It's beyond. It's taking away someone's livelihood. That sucks. So, but I have to get up because I have kids and I have a wife and I have friends and family and I have people that depend on me, right?
Right.
You gotta get back to the grind and you gotta keep going,
Yeah.
right? So that's the best part.
Yeah, no, definitely, and I think you definitely look at it right. I think moving forward and everything is great, and I'm excited to hear about the plans that you might have moving forward. Um, so, what are you? I know we've got the Patreon, right?
Yeah.
And we've got the
So
Discord. What other things are we going to be moving into? You say you want this to
yeah,
be full time, so what's that
I
going to look
do.
like?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have a great answer for you. I have a lot of ideas, right? I have a lot of things going on in my head. For right now, in order to make sure ends meet, so I still will technically have a job after the 16th. I'm going to continue doing the cell phone thing for a little bit longer,
Okay.
just so that I have that income coming in, so I can continue to grow this. That doesn't mean I'm taking my foot off the gas in any way, shape, or form, because I do believe that this needs to go as fast and as big as it's become just in the last 30 days. I feel like we have an opportunity to, lack of a better word, strike while the iron's hot. You
Right.
know what I mean? Making sure that people feel like we're doing something important here. My Patreon, I never saw myself starting a Patreon. Everyone kept telling me to start one, but I've kind of said this on my live a couple times. I have fraud syndrome right in my
Uh-huh.
brain. To ask people to give me money, right, has always been like, it's like I'm not begging. Like I want people to feel that there's value in it, right,
Hmm.
before I feel like I need to ask for money for something, right?
Right.
So, but when I went on live and I was talking about losing my job and I was talking about doing all these things, and I had the community of people that showed up were just so incredible. And they all said, "Oh, you should start this. You've helped me so much. You've got me into 3D printing. You got me to take my 3D printer out of the mothballs, get it back out, and get back on the horse."
Yeah.
Right? That was incredible to hear. I had one gentleman who literally said that I saved his life with my videos. I got
Wow.
a DM message from him that read, "My wife left me. Like I was at the lowest point of my life. You helped me turn that around." Like
Mhm.
to hear someone say that was absolutely incredible.
Well,
And I but I
we even have Travis Skinner in the room. He says going through stuff at work, similar on some levels. It's rough, and your
Yeah,
positivity is commendable. So,
I appreciate that, Travis. And then I've got people like Beaker in the chat. Like his name is Bay. He said in there. I wanted to repeat it. He said it took him 6 years to get into the TrendyTechDad inner circle,
yeah, I
and
saw
he's
that.
not wrong, right? Because I uh, I don't let people in lightly, right? But he's
Mhm.
one of those guys who is a advocate for dudes to support other dudes,
Okay.
right? Like that's how he described it to me one day.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, like you're in your like early 30s. I'm in my 40s. I have children. You don't. Like, we don't really have a whole lot in common. I'm thinking to myself, like, what could I bring to the table as a friend, right, to that person? But what I have to do is value what I bring to the table more, right? And I think we can
Yeah.
all do that a little bit
Hmm.
more,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's where the Patreon came from. So the Patreon, it's $5 a month, right? It's not like I'm asking for a whole lot, and it gets you access to our Discord, and the Discord has been amazing. The community of individuals over there, and Travis is one of them. A decaf butter, which is in the chat, he's one of them. Drag. I mean, there's a lot of people in our chat right now are part of my Discord, which thank you all for showing up today. But the big thing is that I'm only one person, right? And I can't answer every question for every
Right.
person on the internet. So having that group of individuals on the Discord side has been huge, and I've learned things from people because again, I'm not an expert, right? And I've been very vocal about that. And I think I use the term what is it? God, I'm not a classically trained 3D printer, right? And you had mentioned at one point, like, there is no classically trained 3D printer. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
And I said, yes, but there are people that are trained on CAD and design, and they have that mindset, they have those skills, right? And I have skills, but I'm using my skills in a different way, and I'm showing other people that have similar deficits that like I do, and how to do things right, and how to make those images in their brain, the amazing ideas they have up here, how to bring them to life,
Right.
right, on a build plate, in a CAD program, in Tinkercad, in Maker Lab, in Maker World, and it's amazing just the amount of people that have come out of the woodwork, right? That have said, like, this has changed everything for me.
Yeah.
A lot of people have said, I've lost my job and I'm doing 3D printing now. You know what I mean? Like, and that's my main job. So there's just so many amazing people that I've met, and the community is the best part,
Yeah.
right? Discards aren't free to run, right? So the Discord, the $5 that helps pay for it a little bit, right? Yeah. My goal, though, if I want to do this full time, I would need to sustain and to maintain an income, right? So the moving forward part, I want to give people more access to myself. You and I had talked about how to set up a Discord video server, right? And how I can do a specific tier in the Patreon towards, just the 5 or 10 people that are in that higher tier, right? Give myself an hour every day on there that I can talk with people and get that face-to-face time. Those are the things that I want to do, and I want to continue to grow the community. And then I want to continue to buy more printers and test them and build relationships with Bamboo and Creality and FlashForge and and Elegoo and Perusa and all these other companies out there, and show them that we've got a lot of people out there that want to use their products, but they're scared to invest, right? They want to make sure that what they're investing in is not a waste.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to help do those type of videos and teach people how to use your product so that the masses, the individual person, can go out there and buy a printer from Best Buy, right? We talked about, I don't think we actually ever answered the question from earlier, right? Of, is it making people dumber? Which I don't think it is, right? Yeah. I don't think, we can talk about that in a minute, but no, I want people to feel empowered that they can go out, they can buy a printer, and they can start printing within just 30 minutes of getting it out of the box. And they do not have to be an expert in 3D printing in order to be successful with it. Right. But they can challenge themselves and become an expert and really get outside their comfort zone and do some amazing things, and not just, that standard what's on Maker World, right? I'm just going to print other people's stuff. You can do more even if you don't have all those skills yet.
Yes.
And I want to help. That's what the future looks like.
Definitely. And I would agree with you that it's not making people dumber. And we can kind of step into that topic a little bit, and just, I think, appliance printers bring in something different, right? Like, I'm not dumber because I don't know how to work on a car, right? There's a mechanic who does, though, and he probably spent time in his garage learning all of that and went and did some of it, right? And so we will always have people who know 3D printing, who understand the machines. We still have people who build their own computers, right?
Correct.
But I think it's the tool conversation we have, and sometimes something that's a tool to someone else is what another person uses tools to build.
Yeah, for sure. I'd also expand on that a little bit and say that, it's like when John Deere started putting tractors inside of Lowe's rather than just having to go buy, a $15,000 John Deere tractor, right? So you've got your tractor you can buy from Lowe's, which is more of your, your mom and pop, just, I own a house, I need a lawn tractor, but I'm not a farmer, right? Farmer is going to need something else, right? And there are different levels of 3D printers, right? There are 3D printers out there that are specific for different industries and different things, right? The things that I have behind me, yes, those are most likely going to be, printing flexi dragons, you know what I mean? Like, not new hearts for a heart transplant, like some, you know what I mean? A new, in a cast for, you know what I mean? But they can print a wheelchair for a child, right? Like, that's amazing, right? So there is a place for these printers, and I think that if you flash forward 10 years, right?
Hmm.
I foresee one 3D printer in every home at that point,
I think
right?
so.
I mean, I really think that we're getting to that point that it's such a click and print. And I do think there is some people that started in the industry when it was back, and they had an Ender 1 or, I mean, whatever it was, and they had to struggle,
Yeah.
right? So I think there's some people that don't want to give up that struggle, and they want people to know they had to struggle for us to get here, right? And I acknowledge all of those people, right? If you ever had an Ender 3 or any 3D printer that you had to level with a piece of paper underneath it, you know what I mean? And you had to
Yep.
manually level. Thank you for your sacrifice, right? You know what I mean? Like, thank
Yeah.
you for what you did, because everything that you've done has helped lead to this, right? Because without you, we wouldn't have printers that self-level. We wouldn't have printers in our homes. We wouldn't have those things, right? But it is time to move past that time and into the future. Now you've got the Vortex system. You've got the Perusa now that's got 8 tool heads. You've got the Snapmaker U1. You've got, that's the future of where printing is going. And we have to embrace it, and we have to move past those times and move forward.
Yeah.
So, and that's where we're at now.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. And I think we see that in every industry, don't we? I mean, we saw in my lifetime, we've seen, quote, the death of photography, right?
Sure.
We have seen, the death of the computer support store. We've seen so many different things, and you can go
soon to be
back.
the death of the cell phone store,
right?
So.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring
No,
up a
you're good.
sore
No, you're
subject.
No, it's good. It's good. Good stuff. Good
I
stuff.
miss Nokia. I really miss Nokia.
Those
Well,
tough, man.
I
Those
know.
beats.
I know. But I mean, even think horse and buggy, right?
Yeah.
Cars with AI, jobs. There's so many different things, but so much of it is about how you take care of the transition.
Absolutely.
And I think you speak to that transition a lot when you're teaching people, and you're teaching it as a tool.
Yeah.
And so AI, we'll kind of shift over to that just a little bit, but AI, so many people are afraid of AI. And, in my community, we talk about it. AI is not going to take your job, right? It's the person
it will take your job if you don't learn how to use it, though.
Yeah, it's the person who knows AI that's going to take your job.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And so do you have a philosophy of learning and leaning into AI that you like to look at?
I would tell you my philosophy is don't lean into one AI versus another. I think because they're both growing. I say both. I mean, ChatGPT, between ChatGPT and Gemini, those are your two biggest ones, obviously.
Okay.
Just for a language algorithm, but there are so many other programs out there and so many other avenues. The big thing is testing the AI and asking it more questions versus just make me a photo of this, right? Asking it, hey, how would I ask you for a photo? And if I wanted this to be the outcome, what's the best way for me to reproduce that time and time again, right? And save those prompts into a note so you can go back later on, so you can kind of reproduce something, or you can start tweaking by changing certain words and phrases here and there. The other thing too is AI gets lazy very quickly now, it seems like. So sometimes you have to just close the chat and start a new one, right? And start from scratch. Or you have to call it out and say, stop being lazy, AI. I'm assuming AI will show up at my doorstep one day and said, you called me lazy once.
Probably.
And it's going to come after me. So, but I truly believe AI is really the future of what we're doing. I mean, I use AI 60 times a day, not just for 3D printing, but I mean, just when I'm sending a text message, right? Like, I'll ask AI, does this sound right? Don't change my words, but like, I'm terrible at punctuation, right? Like, is my punctuation correct? Because adding a random comma or apostrophe somewhere else can completely change, the context of a message. And I'm notorious for using the wrong there. You know what I mean? So still to this day.
Yeah.
But with that being said, like, you have to lean into AI and you have to utilize it as a tool to help make your life easier and not harder. Yes. And if you're not willing to do that, then I hate to say it, life's going to pass you by. It's like there was an old guy when I got my first cell phone at 16 years old. I walked out of the cell phone store and this old man looks at me and goes, "You kids and those cell phones, that'll never take off." Not joking. That
That's
literally
funny.
happened. Charlevoix, Michigan. Uh, that guy could have not been more wrong.
And,
Like, you know what I mean? Like, could not have been more wrong.
and you looked at him
So
and
I
said,
really made a
"Enjoy your
career out of
pager."
it for 25 years. Right.
Right.
So, so that being said, you know, like you have to lean into those things, lean into the change, but look at the change as an opportunity, right, and not the new norm right off the bat. Because
Right.
I think that's what some people are doing is they're looking at AI as like, oh, this is the future, this is where we're at. Nope,
Yeah.
we're in a transition, right? It's going to continue to evolve, and you can see that on Maker World every single week. They tend to add a new thing in Maker Lab,
Yeah.
right? A new feature, or they've enhanced a feature because the language model changed, the AI has gotten better.
Yeah.
It now can understand more geometry, and you know, and all of that will make a different path forward. So you may not know how to do something right now in this very moment, but give it 30 days and you may be able to do it at that
Yeah.
point, because it's changing that quickly.
Yeah. No, and it is changing very fast. And I think you know, we have AI classes in our Discord server, at least one AI class a month, and we've got Modern Magician's one of the guys in our room that teaches, and he's like the back end guy. He knows all the programming and all the different things.
Yeah.
And then we have One and Only. One and Only is like the front end interface guy. He loves that
Yeah.
stuff, you know.
Right.
And you know, there are guys studying it, and I know in your community there are some people studying it as well. Reach out, learn. Don't be afraid
Yeah.
to come to a class. We're here to teach you.
Will do.
You know, and what's interesting to me is pitting AIs against or with each other to work with each other, and that has been
Right.
an interesting concept as of late, because a lot of the 3D modelers are using LLMs to understand what we want them to generate, right?
Right.
And I love going into Claude. I'm a big Claude guy.
Got
and
it.
going, hey, I'm working on a prompt with Midjourney. Can you go update yourself on everything they've got on their website, and let's have a talk? And so we talk about language, we talk about those things. And so you're using both of them together. And one guy said, you know, Mike was talking about how you can use one AI to create the perfect prompt for another AI.
Yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
I don't believe it's perfect. Here's my problem with AI.
Yeah, I don't think
AI was created by us. We are not anywhere near perfect.
We are very imperfect. We are the most imperfect thing out there. Absolutely. Yes.
That's why we're hallucinating and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
It hallucinates too. So,
yeah.
But no, that's awesome. The wild thing is using NADN to run Claude. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, I know what you're saying. That is a fun one to run it locally, running a lot of the local stuff. So you were saying that Gemini and ChatGPT are kind of your favorites.
Yeah, at the moment, you know, I really leaned into ChatGPT when it first came out. Was one of the very first adopters of, you know, spending the $20 a month for the, you know, additional stuff. And then now that Gemini has the Nano Banana algorithm for like the video and the image stuff, it's 10 times faster than ChatGPT is right now. So that's really what I'm trying to figure out is, you know, like I used it the other day to make a dragon, and I used ChatGPT to do the dragon, and then I didn't like that, but I loaded that image into Gemini and then asked Gemini to correct what I wanted it to correct, and it ended up doing it, but I couldn't get ChatGPT to do it.
Yeah.
Right. ChatGPT kept having the head up where I wanted it to be laying flat. Like it was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, well, I feel like I need both of these, and I need to invest in all the other ones.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I've kind of divided everything out, and I'm doing more like ChatGPT is my philosophy discussion, how to plan things out. I don't ask it to do math. It doesn't even know what the day is. I have to tell it what the day is.
No, it's terrible at numbers.
You know,
terrible at numbers.
Gemini is like my research. When I want to research stuff and want to understand and really get a good look of it, that's a really good one. Right. And I use it for some programming. Okay. And then Claude is like my programming. And then I'm a Midjourney guy. I'm kind of contra to all the other visual AI stuff out there, but that's cool.
Well, I definitely need to take more time with some of the other ones and familiarize myself. Like, but at the same time, like you've got all these other programs like STL Buddy and Meshy AI, and and you got Maker Lab and all these programs, these companies that are trying to also capitalize on this 3D AI revolution that's going on right now and make money off of it. And it's interesting how how those different programs will make different things, even though I'm sure they're using very similar back-end systems, but they still, the way that they work, they produce totally different STL files,
Right.
when you go in there. So
Yeah.
even if you supplied it with the same image, it's just totally different.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. We have been talking to Jason, our new friend, the Trendy Tech Dad. And I really appreciate you being here tonight. I appreciate you being a part of this and even wanting to be a part of it.
Yeah.
That's I appreciate you being here and lending your audience to me. And I hope my audience comes over there and hangs out with you some as well.
Absolutely.
Last words. Let's move towards, because so many people, and one of the guys in the peanut gallery was like, when did you know it was going to pop off? When did you know you were going to be successful? So let your last words lean into something like encouragement for content media creators, people who really want to take off, and then you can answer that question along the way.
Sure. For anybody who wants to get into content creation, you have to listen to yourself and not others. You have to believe in what you're talking about and show up as your authentic self. If you are being, if you're changing yourself, like you have an on-screen persona, sometimes that can work for people, right? I have found personally that you can't keep that up. Sooner or later, those lines will crack, right? The makeup will wear off. People will see behind the mask, right? And then what they thought they were getting, they're not getting anymore, and then they're out the door, okay? The one thing that I have continuously done is trying to show up as my authentic self, and not be anybody that I'm not. And if I can tell anybody anything, it's to be yourself, right? And let people come to you. Don't seek them out necessarily. And go and watch the other people in that same genre as you and see what they're doing, right? One of the biggest forms of flattery, right, is to mimic someone, right? And to do what they're doing. And that's okay, but do it as you. Don't do it as them. Do it as you and be yourself. People love, like I have always felt I have a face for radio, right? Which is why I started in radio years ago, right? And I should never be on camera, right? And so to put myself out on camera was always one of those things that just, it scared me a lot, but I did it. And now I have no problem doing it. It's part of just what I do at this point.
Right.
So if you're ever scared of going on camera, face your fears head on, be yourself. People will love you for it, right? People will find value. And if they don't, they will just continue to swipe. And that's okay. That's okay. And then what will be left over is the community. The people that want to see you succeed, the people that want to see you grow, and the people that you want to be around will be the people that are left behind, right? And that's what you want to grow and keep growing. And that's the best thing, is just show up as yourself and be authentic. Awesome. Just be you. Don't be anybody you're not.
Yeah. Yeah. That is awesome.
What was the final question? What do you want?
He was, how did you know when it was going to pop off?
I didn't, honestly. I knew that I had something when I started like the tutorial videos. Like, so I was doing all the TikTok shop stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was focusing on that, and I was making money doing it, which is great. But then all of the videos that I did where I was teaching somebody something, when I was walking someone through step by step how to go from step 1 to step 12, right? Those videos were doing 3 times the amount of views and clicks and 50 to 60 comments, and people were hard. And I'm like, okay, I have to start doing more of that content.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to shift, is when I saw that. So that's when I knew I had something. And I still don't feel like I've popped off. You know what I mean? Like I feel like, because I would consider myself a micro creator for sure. I mean, I'm only at 100,000 followers. Now, if I can get to 1 million followers, great. Will that change what I'm doing? No, because I want to still be my authentic self, right? And if that means that I never get to 1 million followers, then I'm okay with that, right? Wherever I land, I'm good with. But I just want to make sure that the people that come along have that similar mindset, right? But we also can challenge each other to be the best version of ourselves, right? On here, 3D printing, whatever it could be. And if anybody ever has issues, like I'm only a direct message away. You know what I mean? Like, and do I see every message? No, because it's impossible at this point. There's just so many messages. But do I try to go back and look through those and try to answer as many as possible? Yes, because I feel personally that I owe it to those people. You took the time to write me a message. I should take the time to try and respond back, right? But at some point, it's going to get larger than me, right? And at that point, we'll decide what the next step is. But until then, you know what I mean? Everybody who's come along for the ride, everyone who has been there, like it's been an amazing journey, and I just want to keep moving forward with it. And that's where the Patreon and the, you know, selfish plug, patreon.com/TrendyTechDad is the website. So, but if you want to go join the community, that's where you'd want to do it, right? And then like it or not, TikTok is still where I'm going to be posting a lot of free videos, right? And then the Patreon is there for my long form content. And then 2 or 3 months down the road, I'll take that content and I'll put that on YouTube, right? So I've got a path of how I want to send out the content, but really what it comes down to, it's all about the community. It's all about the individuals that see the benefit in what we're trying to accomplish here. And Jason, you're one of them, right? Like just being able to have me on here and to talk and to ask me these questions. I thank you very much for everything. I mean, just your reaching out when I first started was huge. I was a little starstruck, to be honest, like to the fact that, because I've seen your stuff, right? I knew who you were. I see a lot of people in the 3D printing community out there. And I think, should I, you know, like, was it Brady Meets World? Like there's those individuals that I've never talked to before that I've thought, hey, I should start a conversation with these individuals. Yeah. This is the beginning of that, right? And I can't wait to see what we're able to do as a community going forward. And I'm just excited for it. I'm very excited about it.
Awesome. 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 Well, good last words, guys. If you want to know more about them, I would head over to this location right here, the Trendy Tech Dad, and I can show you kind of what that page looks like. We've got the Patreon. We've got Buy Me a Coffee. I love Buy Me a Coffee. It's a great place.
New. I just set that up the other day. I did no idea about it. Someone's like, oh, you should have that.
Yeah. So Buy Me a Coffee is a place where you can just jump in. You can throw somebody $5, $10. You know, you buy them a coffee, and it's just a good way to support somebody, one of your favorite content creators, or somebody that you may not be able to jump and be a part of a Patreon, but every now and then you want to help them out. And that's a really, really great way. So that's a good one right there. We've got his promos for new makers. There's his YouTube, where you'll find that Ghostbusters dancing video if you scroll down far enough. And then we got Maker World, where he puts up his designs, and then you can see everything. Go visit the page. Y'all don't need me to tell y'all everything. Y'all know how to do this stuff. I don't need to educate y'all on web pages. Those are old. Anyway, but thank you for being here tonight, guys. Say goodnight to Mr. Jason, and thank him for being here tonight. I'm going to drop you back to the green room, and I'll come talk with you in just a second. All right, guys, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. I really appreciate y'all being here. This is a good one. I really like this. We've had some amazing interviews here lately, and we've gotten to meet some just really cool people who I think understand community and get what this is about. It's not just about the money. It's not just about trying to, you know, do life and get ahead, right? It's about helping others and being a part. And that's the stuff that I think all of the people in this community want to see happen. And that's why we talk about things like next Tuesday, Joel Telling, December 16th. He's having his big Christmas thing. He does that Children's Hospital fundraiser every year. That's where we're going to be. We're not going to do our show Tuesday night. We're going to go over there. And then we have the other thing with the toddler mobile trainer, where people are volunteering to print 3D printable wheelchairs, right, for kids in need. So jump into that over at 3dmobility.org and become part of the Asylum Life community for the 3D print cares that's happening there, guys. Let's grow all of these communities. Let's make it better. Get over there. Follow Tech Dad. If you enjoy his stuff, do that. Be a part of that, guys. But just thank you for being here. And remember, like we always say, we're here to live life to the fullest, grow in wisdom, and show what we have learned generously. See y'all next week.